Well, thank you. My name is Jim Carroll, and I'm the Executive Director for the Spirit Catholic Radio Network here in Nebraska. And my wife, Carol, yes, I did that. Her name's Carol. We've been married for 31 years. We joined St. Robert Bellarmine Parish the day we got back from our honeymoon. We have 5 children that have gone through Catholic grade school, high school. 3 of them out of college. I have a senior at prep this year, starting yesterday, and I'll have an 8th grader at St. Robert Bellarmine starting next week. So in our talks, I think that we're supposed to give a little something about how you can bring faith into the workplace. You can say, well, that's easy, you work at Spirit Catholic Radio. Hopefully that is something that you bring into the workplace. So we do try to start all of our meetings with prayer. In our meetings with prayer, we have Mass up at the station on Fridays. You're all invited, 11:30. We have food afterwards. And then we do Sharon Doran's Seeking Truth Bible, Sharon and Steve Doran's Seeking Truth Bible study as a staff, along with some of our volunteers. So I think one way that you can bring, I love the fact that Deacon Adams had talked about, forgiving people that you work with in the workplace and so forth. But I've been at the station for 13 years now. Prior to that, I was a senior VP at First Data Resources for about 12 years, and I also had time in banking for about 10 years. And when my daughter, who is now 27 years old, made her first communion, she gave me, you get those little those little pins. And so she gave me a pin and said, "Dad, I want you to wear this always." So I said, "Okay, I'll wear that always." And what I realized is just by having a cheap $1 pin on your lapel or wherever would elicit a conversation. And it's amazing how many people would say, "I really love that pin." I go, "Oh, well, here, you can have it. It cost me $1. But it was an opportunity to talk about what your faith meant to you in the workplace without being the person standing on a soapbox. So small ways that you can witness to the faith, even if you're in a very secular environment. And so, just checking my time. How far do I want to go? I'll say this. Lifelong Catholic. I've been married for a few years. I worked with somebody who loved the Lord. This guy just loved it. He talked about the Lord all the time. He didn't care what the people, this was a company called Applied Communications. And he saw me and he thought, Catholic, this is going to be easy. So he starts asking me questions about the Catholic faith. I'm in my mid-50s, all right? So I don't think I paid attention all that much, but I was reaching back from when I was very, very young, trying to give him answers, explaining difficult things like Mary and the papacy and all these other things. And then he took me to lunch, and he said, "Jim, I'm afraid for your soul. The Catholic Church is the whore of Babylon." And he proceeded to tell me about all these terrible things that I thought, I don't know if that's right or not, but what I realized was I wasn't really fully participating in the church. I didn't know why I was going. I said I was Catholic the same way I was Irish. I drank beer on St. Patrick's Day and, showed up, wore the shamrock and other things. I was just putting in pew time, I think it's Doug Barry had said he would punch in and punch out with the holy, oh, there's my timer. I'll just ignore that. But he said it's time to punch in and punch out. He'd come into church, he'd punch in with the holy water, make the sign of the cross, and he'd punch out, and that was his time as a Catholic. So it got me thinking, put me on a path of just total, didn't know what was true, but thankfully the Lord found me, got a hold of me, slapped me about the head and shoulders and so forth. And then I went on about a 5-year quest to find out what the Lord's call was for me. So that's the thing that I'm going to ask you to do, is if there's something that you could do in the workplace that gives you that opportunity to share your faith. It's going off again. I must really be done. Some opportunity to share your faith. Look for those opportunities. Make yourself aware of what your faith stands for. So what we have on the table are there's some tune-in cards. Sometimes that's a very easy way to share with people. Charlie's coming. Hand a tune-in card, tell people to take a listen to a particular program, especially when Sharon Dorn's on the morning show. So thank you very much. Charlie?